Growing up, most of us experience sleep paralysis at least once in our lifetime, where in our minds we told ourselves we were stuck in bed alone, where in reality, we were not as alone as we may have thought. This is a terrifying tale of the boiled one.
Cause a manifestation of my being in the future. You will be asleep in bed. I will be there and watch over you. When you wake, I will not be able to move any part of you. When the doctors eventually find you, they will not see me, but you will, and I'll see you too. Forever, I'll see you.
The tale of the boiled one begins with a broadcast that took place on August 13, 2003, that mysteriously hijacked TVs through a rerun episode of a show that ended back in 2001. Upon viewing the broadcast, you are presented with a warning screen alerting you to have the following with you before viewing the broadcast: earplugs, a pencil, a sheet of paper, and a Christian Bible open to Psalms 91:10, which reads, "No harm shall overtake you, and no disaster shall come near your tent." You are then given instructions that if something unusual begins to speak in tongue, to insert your earplugs and write the following on the paper: "I can see this paper. I can see my hand. I can't hear the screaming of thousands. I can't hear the feast. I am a moving, breathing human on planet Earth." This is done to prevent people from losing control over their minds, as the entity likes to attack its prey psychologically. When watching the warning screen, though, you will notice something strange begins to happen. The instructions begin to glitch, revealing words that contradict what was told prior, reading,
"I can't see this paper. I have no head. I can hear the laughter of thousands. I can hear the feast. I cannot move, nor do I want to."
This is just a mere demonstration of just how much power this entity possesses over your mind. After, you are given further instructions that you are one of the unfortunate victims that had to carry out these procedures, to call authorities immediately in hopes to live a normal life after. Following this, you are presented with the broadcast. Does this image scare you? No? Well, what about this one? Neither? Well, maybe this one will. Something we can all agree on are that these images are spine-chilling nonetheless. But why is that? Could it be a distortion of their faces, or the exaggerated expressions they possess? This is a terrifying tale of the Uncanny Valley. The Uncanny Valley is a horror topic that has gotten a lot of notoriety in these last few months, being found all over TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Well, X, but you get the idea. The term uncanny comes from Mashara Mori, who explained that when robots or other beings appear more human, they become so lifelike that something appears off, making them unsettling. This fear comes from the human bias on how we interpret our other humans should appear. Look at this image, for example. What seems off-putting about the image? Is it the idea of, why is he smiling at me like that? Or more or less the idea of, how are you smiling at me like that? The idea that humans shouldn't be able to smile this big is what draws the unsettling nature of the image. But what makes the Uncanny Valley much more terrifying than your average monster is the surreal nature of it all. The fact that it appears more human is what makes it feel more real in our minds. This is the concept of solipsism, which is the idea that if knowledge outside of one's mind is unsure or not known, it cannot exist. Since we don't have the understanding of anything that looks like this, our bias comes to the conclusion that it doesn't exist. But since these people of some sort appear more human, the idea that something like this can be more apparent triggers the anxiety within us all. Imagine you're in the area, but this area isn't dark, confined, or even feels sinister for all that matter. Just an open area, deprived of people or life around you. While some may look at this as an opportunity for exploration, many others will see this as a horrifying experience. But what about these said areas could be so alarming that it frightens people? Is it the idea of being alone? Or is it the idea that you're not as alone as you thought? This is a terrifying tale of liminal space. Well, first we must understand what a liminal space is. A liminal space are empty or abandoned places that appear eerie and often surreal, otherwise known as the space between two states of physical and emotional. Think about this image. Do you feel some kind of nostalgic emotion, or does it trigger some kind of mini panic inside of you? The interesting part of liminal space is that it's not the concept itself that's what's terrifying. It's what we as humans conjure up within our own minds that draws the anxiety within. But despite the faint description I gave of liminal space, we never truly define what makes one scary. From the thoughts of being watched to the feeling of nostalgia, one thing is certain, that you are alone. Human interaction is a key aspect of day-to-day life. Whether it be hanging out with friends or scrolling on some type of social media, we are drawn to interact with the others who live around us. This is what aids the psychological terror of liminal space. We as humans are accustomed to the idea that something or someone just has to be there. Whether it be human, animal, or entity of some sort, something has to be with us. But it's also good to know that not all liminal space enables a sense of fear. Some liminal spaces, like an empty playground or possibly a beach for that matter, can draw a feeling of calmness and nostalgia. That's primarily due to the fact that liminal spaces are associated with what we view as humans as misery or joy. But what about liminal space bring out the fear within you? That's it for this video, and if you want to see more like it, hit that like and subscribe button. You can also follow me on my other social media platforms I left in the description below. My name is Ashton, and sleep with one eye open tonight.